Welcome to this channel where we bring you stories about kindness and friendship. Our story today is about a small, fluffy cloud named Nimbus. Fluffy clouds often look like cotton balls, but Nimbus was different. His outside may have been soft and white, but inside he was as hard and cold as ice. And he always looked grumpy. Why? Because Nimbus hated his job. You see, Nimbus was a rain cloud. When he traveled across the sky with his friends, they loved nothing more than to pour down water on the ground below. The other clouds would happily water the plants, fill up rivers and lakes, and make little puddles for the children to jump in. But Nimbus refused to do his job. Every time he saw those small, scared flowers stretching their necks to get just a few drops of water, he thought they were being too needy. Every time he saw the children running around in the rain, he thought they were making too much noise. And every time he heard the gentle pitter-patter of raindrops, he thought it sounded too boring. No, Nimbus didn't want to rain. He didn't like getting wet and soggy. He didn't like having water dripping from his chin. And most of all, he didn't like how much work it was to wipe the water out of his eyes so he could see where he was going. It was just too messy. And if you had to ask him why, he'd say it was because he was born that way. One day, while he was sulking off by himself, he heard a big booming laugh. Looking over, he saw the big smiling face of the sun. "Hey there, Nimbus," said the sun. "Why aren't you playing with your friends? They're having so much fun." "I don't want to play," grumbled Nimbus. "It's too messy." "Oh, come on," said the sun. "Don't be such a grump. If you don't want to get wet, then just don't get wet. You can still have fun." "No, I'm not getting tricked by you again," said Nimbus. The last time the sun had invited him to play, he had let Nimbus borrow his sunglasses. But then Nimbus had accidentally poured some raindrops onto them and ruined them. So now he wasn't about to make that mistake again. The sun shrugged his shoulders and floated away, leaving Nimbus all alone. Now, Nimbus liked being alone. He enjoyed watching the world go by, especially when there was a nice breeze and he could lazily drift along with it. But sometimes it got boring. And one day, while he was floating past the forest, he saw something that made him stop. In the middle of the trees was a tiny pond. It used to be a big pond, but these days it was just a sad, muddy puddle. There wasn't a single leaf or flower growing near it because it had been so long since it had rained. And suddenly, an idea popped into Nimbus's head. Maybe he could pretend to be a rain cloud and scare away all the animals living near the pond so that no one would be there when he secretly dumped all his water into it. Then he could be the hero who saved the day without having to get too close to the mess. So that's what he did. He puffed out his chest and gathered all his strength and yelled, "Get out of here! Animals, I'm gonna dump my water on this pond!" Well, of course, the animals didn't listen. How could they when Nimbus wasn't actually making any sound? He was a cloud, after all. But that didn't matter. This plan was perfect. All he needed to do was sneak over to the pond and dump his water. No one would ever know. But just as he was about to make his move, a voice boomed from above. "Not so fast, young man." Startled, Nimbus looked up and saw a tall, thin cloud slowly floating towards him. He had never seen this cloud before, but he could tell that he was very old and very wise. "Who are you?" asked Nimbus. "I am Cirrus, one of the oldest clouds in the sky," the cloud said. "I also happen to be a rain cloud." Nimbus stiffened. Did this old guy know why he had come here? Had he been watching him? Hi there," he said nervously. I was just heading back home." "Yeah, that's it. Just heading home." "That sounds nice," said Cirrus, I remember when I was a young cloud like you, and I used to love coming home after a long day of traveling. The best thing was always dumping all my water on the thirsty plants and flowers. Oh, how they would love it when I tickled their leaves with my water. Nimbus couldn't believe that this old guy was actually enjoying pouring water on the plants. Was he crazy? He must be. So, you do realize that the plants would die without your water, right? Nimbus asked. Of course I do, said Cirrus. That's why I'm a rain cloud. But you, Nimbus, I sense that you are struggling with something. Why don't you water the plants? Is it because you're afraid of getting wet? Nimbus froze. How did this old guy know what he was thinking? Was he a mind reader? I'm not afraid. He lied. I just don't like getting messy. I understand, said Cirrus, chuckling. I used to feel the same way. But you know, letting go of the water is the best feeling in the world. You may think that getting wet is scary, but it's not. Getting wet means that someone is thirsty and needs your help. Getting wet means that someone will be happy because of you. Getting wet means that you get to help the world. And isn't that what we're all here for, Nimbus? Well, he had a point, but Nimbus couldn't admit that. So instead he turned his head away and said, No, I don't want to help the world. I just want to take a nap. And with that, he closed his eyes and tried to drift away. But Cirrus wouldn't let him go. Help the world, he said. Be a hero. Nimbus felt like he was being forced to do something against his will, and that made him angry. I hate it when people force me to do things, he yelled. Oh, really? Said Cirrus, chuckling. Well, maybe I can change your mind. And with that, he started to walk towards the little pond. Nimbus wanted to run away, but his feet were heavy. It was hard to move. That is because he had held on to all his water for so long that it was starting to weigh him down. As he watched Cirrus approach the pond, he realized something. All the water he had kept inside him was making him grumpy, lonely, and unable to move. Maybe it would feel better to share his water with the plants and flowers. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad to let the world enjoy his water. But just as he was about to give in, he heard a loud flapping noise. Startled, Nimbus opened one eye and saw a big bird flying dangerously close to him. Before he knew it, the bird sneezed. And guess where the sneeze landed? Right on top of Nimbus's head. Shocked, Nimbus let out a tiny giggle, which quickly turned into a big laugh. The bird flew away, completely unaware of what had happened. And Nimbus felt lighter than he had ever felt before. Letting go of his water hadn't been so bad after all. In fact, it felt great. And with that, Nimbus the cloud finally burst into a happy shower, watering all the thirsty plants and flowers below as he watched the children jump around in the puddles he had made. He realized that Cirrus had been right. Helping the world did feel good, but most of all, it felt good to finally be free. The end.